Kamala wants to run as the change candidate, but she is in the incumbent administration, and I think Donald Trump needs to kind of really tie her more to that. I think he's been a little bit undisciplined, and he's maybe getting a bit better at it, and I think the campaign ads are pretty good. Trump himself has been kind of going off script a lot, but it's a really good opportunity for him here, because she's not the new candidate. She is the current vice president, who's supposed to be, if her boss is on the beach and isn't engaged, then running the country herself.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with Managing Editor Chris Irvine.
Hey.
And Chris, Joe Biden, the president, in case folks have forgotten, is on vacation right now. There's been some photos released of him on the beach. Is he still running the country? I mean, there's what to make of him being on vacation again.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're always going to be a little bit careful about when you say, who's really running the country when this is happening, because, I'm sure he is still getting briefed about things, but at the same time, the optics are pretty bad. And when you think that he's dropped out of the campaign, he says he's still going to run the country, despite all these claims about his cognitive abilities and the decline, for him then to go to California for a week and then to Delaware, and just be pictured on the beach doing nothing, it just doesn't feel right. You don't feel good, especially because there's constant questions about America's authority on the world stage. Our foes looking at America with, licking their chops, thinking now's our chance to go and do something that we shouldn't be doing. And we just did a series about it this week on how America's deterrence in the world seems to really be affected right now, their deterrence management. On top of that, Kamala Harris is, of course, on the campaign trail, but she is the next in line. So there is those questions of, well, hang on, who's actually got their hand on the till here, and who's kind of in charge? And it's I think it's Mark Knoller who has tallied up the amount of time that Biden has spent in Delaware. It's something like 330 days and counting, which is almost a full year spent in Delaware in his four-year presidency. It's pretty extraordinary, and it's way ahead of Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and then Obama when he would go on holiday as well at the same time. I mean, what else can you say, really? Yeah,
not a good look.
No.
And Kamala, too, is being accused of hiding, but sort of in a different way, hiding behind highly scripted events. And she is going to do her first joint interview. It hasn't aired yet at the time that we're recording this, but the sort of narrative about her hiding from unscripted moments has started to replace the joy narrative. Is that bad for her?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all boils down to accountability ultimately, doesn't it? I mean, Kamala wants to run as the change candidate, but she is in the incumbent administration, and I think Donald Trump needs to kind of really tie her more to that. I think he's been a little bit undisciplined, and he's maybe getting a bit better at it, and I think the campaign ads are pretty good. Trump himself has been kind of going off script a lot, but it's a really good opportunity for him here, because she's not the new candidate. She is the current vice president, who's supposed to be, if her boss is on the beach and isn't engaged, then running the country herself, sort of. So, it ultimately boils down to this administration's worrying lack of taking responsibility for things. Look, they might be doing it behind the scenes, and politics is an optics game more than anything else these days. It certainly doesn't seem like they're taking any accountability for any issues that are up in the country right now.
Well, for Kamala, does her silence right now raise the stakes for when she eventually does sit for that one-on-one interview, when she does go onto the debate stage? Will people just be watching her so much more closely because there's no other opportunities to see what she's like as a real person?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly the criticism that she's got on it being a 2-on-1 with Tim Walz is warranted. I think you would have wanted to have seen her at least once in a one-on-one setting. Dana Bash is a somewhat friendly interviewer. I mean, she's a good interviewer in her own right, obviously, and she did well during the Biden-Trump debate. But it's a pre-recorded interview, so there will be accusations that it will be tightly choreographed,
Right.
it'll be tightly edited. I think, we're all kind of expecting Kamala to go in a 60 Minutes interview and really kind of show her chops. And I think the questions about whether she's hiding or whether she's using Tim Walz as a shield, they won't go away until she does a one-on-one. Now, she's probably going to have to do that before the debate, which is coming up thick and fast. Because I think I've said this to you before, you do not want Donald Trump asking you questions on the debate stage that you have not answered yet. And
Right.
I think she's going to have to figure out the best way to do that, and it's go time now. She's got to prove that she's a heavyweight, and she's got to prove her chops, and she's going to have to do that in a one-on-one capacity or a press conference.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah.
You can get more writing from Chris and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.